is the National Library, which we probed earlier this morning from apparently the other side, and also the Papyrus Museum. So this would be the impressive entrance. Understatement. And this, looking back to the Hofburg that we were in earlier. Many lion statues have I seen, recalling the ones I believe in Beijing's Forbidden City. And who are these notables? Presumably of literature. Who were the great Austrian writers? I can't think of one. My bad. I wonder if these were put in as an afterthought, just to enclose the space and protect it. Here, a bicycle tour group that almost had a collision with a bicyclist legitimately using the road. Deep on autopilot. Interesting to see what those two domes are connected to. Most intrigued to see what these two brown buildings are. Here are other heroic figures. So these two buildings are the temporary offices of some of the Parliament because the Parliament building is being renovated. This is Heldenplatz. This is Volksgarten. This is Volksgarten, and why it's not open, I don't know. Circumnavigating the park, since it's not open anyway. Principally to get to that, I assume, is a church. Apparently nothing in the vicinity of the Hofburg can be ignored because it's too grand oftentimes to be dismissed that easily. So we'll walk down, see what that building is, and then we'll hook back and take a look at this one. But it's to the far right of the beautiful building we want to see, which is down there. It's an impressive building for a university, an old one. Comfortable place to lounge about. The date is 1365, it looks like. Be the tenure of presidents or whatever of this institution. There's a respite from our wanderings this morning. We can angle down and get a picture of that tower just because it looks more interesting than a lot of the others. Part of the rent-a-bike system. No, not the woman, the bike. Put your card in, it gives you access to one of these bikes, and you put your card in probably when you drop off the bike. Nope. Unless you're going to continue to use it. See a little park in the midst of all this pomposity. Can chill. We'll visit that other park before we come back and take a closer look at this building. Now, what would inspire that different coloration? So wherever we are on Rathaus, which is where the town hall is, probably right down there somewhere. We're now behind that large, beautiful building. I want to explore the park that should be right there. I want to explore it. I want to sit down in it. So we shall. Schmidt. This is the Rathaus, or City Hall, one of the most impressive I've ever seen, I believe. Pretty ball, this seems like a More like it should be a cathedral, particularly with the stained glass. So this is the inner portion of the Rathaus. Holy mackerel. This would put a lot of cathedrals to embarrassment. Hard to imagine it wasn't a cathedral. Magnificent cloister, at least in size. Because it hasn't been cleaned in eons, it looks very old. Gothic would be an understatement, I believe. Wow. Just the inner area of an entry into the center courtyard for carriages in the day. Restoring this floor, maybe restoring the doors that go in that doorway. Kind of fair here for kids. It's great. I think that's called irony. Certainly not mockery. It's our city hall, after all. I can't imagine that's comfortable. Very impressive. So we look at the front of the Rathaus. To orientate, I first approached this from that far right corner of that intersection, crossed the street to the left into that park you can see the tree of, entered behind, and now I've come out on this side again. But looking down here, notice that magnificent church down there. So guess where we gotta go? Very Gothic, but challenged by that church we're about to visit. They're working on a film festival. And this is the layout for it. Pretty nice. Here's a splendid building. This may give us a hint of what these buildings look like before they get cleaned up. At the lower portion of what look like three separate buildings, they all seem to have exactly the same decor. But this one up here on the left has been completely denuded of any facing it had. This one has its original. Some very interesting statue graphics, if you will, up on top. And then there's the center portion, so I'm suspecting it was all one building at one time. This magnificent church is ringing its bells in honor of my arrival. Dongles on the side of the steeples remind me of the church I saw on the Camino de Santiago in one of the two large cities. The entire church is under restoration. We'll go over and peek inside. Mustang.